Hey, Ma. They told me that that they'll release me from here if I plead guilty. Okay. If I don't plead the guilty plea, there's still a chance that they'll send me across the street. And if they send me across the street, then I'll be facing the charges over there. All right. Yes, ma'am. I love you too.
Aaron, come on out.
I try to go straight, but driving's just my thing. I just like driving. That's what get me in trouble all the time. My whole life has always been taking somebody's car.
Since Aaron first showed up at Lake County Juvenile Complex 6 years ago, he's been no stranger to the folks at intake.
Yeah, this will be your last picture as Juvenile.
Just days away from his 18th birthday, Aaron finds himself in juvenile court one last time. This time, he was picked up on a bench warrant from a neighboring town in Illinois, where he was facing charges of battery.
I missed the court date, I think, when I came down here. So I just forgot about it because it was just a little battery. I was fighting someone, and I didn't even realize that I missed the court date.
To make matters worse, Aaron's still facing charges of auto theft and battery here in Lake County. Intake supervisor Deborah Clayton tries to impress upon him just how tricky his situation is.
Oh, in New York. That was your 8th complaint. You have been detained with us 5 times, and you've been here for a total of 161 days.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? You were at placement?
Yes.
For how long?
9 months.
Then you were at Silver State? For how long?
15 months.
So what do you want the court to do with you?
Well, I want to go home, but it's probably not in the possibility right now. But I hope I can go home. If anything, give me a commitment here. Don't send me across the street, because if they send me across the street, I'm gonna have a felony, adult felony, and then my life is gonna be basically ruined if I get an adult felony.
Over there, they don't give a crap about rehabilitation. They're not going to want you to go to placements or get counseling, and they're not going to ask you what has happened in your life. They don't care. So at what point are you going to, like, let it soak through, maybe do something different?
Here in the juvenile court system, there are more options available to kids than there are in the adult system.
To be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I mean, the juvenile court was created to provide services to kids and families to make them better adults.
For 26 years, Senior Judge Mary Beth Bonaventura has been making decisions that are aimed at helping kids at risk get back on track.
They're coming back to our community. And so I want to do everything I can do first before I send them to the DOC or Department of Corrections.
Because Aaron is on the cusp of his 18th birthday and has charges of auto theft and battery pending, the stakes are much higher this time. Aaron has already been warned that the prosecutor's office is considering waiving him to the adult system.
I got a bad record, so I just bag him. I probably bag him to please don't take my life away from me, because to me that's taking my life away, because it'll be 3 adult felonies instead of just 1, because I have 3 pending.
Aaron has already admitted a problem with auto theft and high-speed chases, but his other vice, being an escape artist.
My staff called me to let me know that he was trying to be a trickster and had a detention officer bring him up Sunday night for the release for the weekenders. And our intake officer, Elizabeth, noticed that, no, he's not a weekender. He's not supposed to be leaving. And he tried to convince her, yes, I am. I'm a weekender. I don't belong here. I'm supposed to go home. I came in on Friday. I need to go home. My mom is going to be picking me up. I mean, he tried to really convince her. If for some reason staff let you walk out that door, they would be coming for me, and my job would be on the line. You got to understand the decisions that you make have consequences that don't affect you, but affect everybody else around you.
You tell a lie,
Stop
but it
being
wasn't my
slick.
fault. The staff
Okay?
made a mistake and put it in my paperwork.
Regardless, you knew you weren't a weekender.
I
You
understand.
knew you weren't supposed to be,
I understand.
seeing freedom.
I understand.
Aaron's attempt to fly the coop at LCJC wasn't his first escape attempt. Recently, he tied his bed sheets together to escape the hospital room where he was being treated for stab wounds.
Getting stabbed. Getting stabbed by who?
It was a while ago.
A long time ago?
I was liking this girl and she was liking me, but she had a boyfriend and he cut me like 6 times. Like right here on my forehead and on my chin and on my arm. The police was like, yeah, we're taking you to jail. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm the victim. I'm like, man, I'm not going to jail. So I tied a couple sheets together and climbed out the window.
But now, the clock is ticking, and what's on Aaron's mind? Going across the street to adult jail.
They're trying to send me across the street and deal with my cases charge me as an adult because they said I've been taking too many cars and I'm a menace to society and I belong behind bars. I think I have a decision-making problem. That's what I think I do because, like, when decision comes, I know right from wrong and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's wrong. But I just do what I like to do instead of what's right. I do what I want to do.
There's no one reason kids find themselves in trouble with the law or detained at LCJC. Some might be there for a simple lapse in judgment, others for more serious crimes. For 16-year-old Ariana, she's back at LCJC after just being released barely a month ago.
Right. Are you allergic to anything? Do you have any health problems? No. Suicide? In the past or the present? You've been suicidal in the past? And you've never received counseling for it?
Nobody knows.
Your mom never knew? What was your reason? What made you change? What made you not think of suicide anymore? Your brother? That's a good reason. How old is he?
11.
11 years old?
I do have the 2 younger brothers and the 1 older brother. I've really been taking care of my 2 younger brothers since I was 13 because my mom's always been at work. So I basically raised them too.
Is he upset right now because you're arrested? Yeah. Was he with you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, so he had to see the whole thing?
Ariana had no bad intentions for wanting to catch a high school football game, but having been expelled from the school a year before for fighting, the principal didn't see things the same way, and he summoned the police to escort her off of school premises.
I was going to a football game. It was supposed to be me and my mom and my 2 brothers. My mom had to leave to take her boyfriend home, and she was going to come right back. So when we go to buy tickets, and the principal comes up, and she says, because I don't go to that school, I couldn't go. So I had to leave, and she had the police come in my face and rush me down.
She states that she was facing a dilemma. She'd been asked to leave, but her brothers were already in the game, so what was she to do? Leave them totally unsupervised, or defy the officers and go in after them? As luck would have it, her mother showed up at the last minute, so she didn't have to make that choice. But Ariana was still in trouble.
He seems like very angry. Are you mad right now? Why? Do you think you have anger problems? No? Do you need the court to help you? You don't need the court's help? No. Do you understand you're on probation? So this kind of looks bad on you.
Ariana's case is complicated by 2 previous charges for battery on a classmate and driving without a license. Her last court case ended with a warning.
The probation officer told me if I got in any more trouble, I was going to have to go to girls' school. So, yeah, I'm real nervous.
Preoccupied with thoughts of being sent to juvenile prison, Ariana prepares for another weekend in detention and her court hearing on Monday, which could mean a long time away from home.
I'm trying not to think about it. It's making me real nervous. I just don't know what's going to happen. Usually I got an idea. This time I don't.
That at-risk kids are often faced with growing up faster than most of us is anything but a cliche. Kids are often faced with playing the role of an absent parent, taking care of their siblings, and even contributing to a family's monthly financial needs. For Ariana, this makes being detained all the more stressful.
I can't take it in here. 3 days being locked up, not doing anything, that's not good. After a while, you start to get a little crazy. Some of them seem to be so happy. It's like, how are you happy and you're in here? How do they do that?
Nearly 30% of all the juveniles arrested each year are females. Detention officers have told us that females differ from boys in that they're much more social in their interactions.
Most of my friends are locked up right now, so. There are a few girls that are good friends to me. Like, I can relate to them a lot, and they're just really kind to me. Just like me, I guess. A lot of stories, a lot of hardship.
17-year-old Marie has a history of truancy and running away, but most of her problems started when she was much younger.
Well, my mom died when I was a year old, and I never knew my dad. One of my mom's sisters adopted me when I was about 9 years old, but she had breast cancer, and they got a divorce. I went to my grandpa's house. That didn't work out, so I got sent to my aunt's house, and I just don't get along with them. I had a major depression, so I didn't want to go to school. I used to be 245 pounds, too. It was huge. It was bad.
If ever there was a time for someone, a system to intervene in their life, it's now. And that's what the juvenile court does best, and that's what our role is, to provide for all the services to help somebody grow into a responsible, productive person.
Winding up in juvenile court actually helped Marie get some of the services she desperately needed.
They sent me this place called Christian Haven. It's a placement. It helped my attitude. It helped me to lose weight and everything, so it helped my self-esteem and all that, so I got happier.
Marie will be released in less than a week, but with no family and nowhere to go, she'll be transferred to an independent living facility.
They teach you how to be independent, like you get your own place, you work your way up, you get your job, you go to school, you earn money, you get allowance, and you just learn how to be like an adult. The main thing that I'm after is getting my education, and I don't really have like what I need to get there, you know, like I don't have a family to support me. I don't have any money. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get there. All I know is I can get my high school diploma. So like 4 more days.
Although she doesn't know what she'll do with the rest of her life, one thing is on her mind.
Perfect situation for me finally meeting my dad. He always left letters for me for when I grew up, when I was a baby. So I've read those, and he sounds like a nice guy. Sounds like he cares about me. I'll probably try and find him when I'm 18.
For Marie, turning 18 means freedom, but for Aaron, it could mean the end of his. Since we first met him, he's turned 18 in LCJC, which makes the reality of being transferred to the adult system loom ever larger. The only bright spot? A visit from his mother.
Happy belated birthday. Did you enjoy your birthday in jail?
Did not enjoy my birthday.
If the court decides to waive Aaron, send him to adult court, he'll find himself going to the adult jail to await his trial, across the street.
Okay. if you do go across the street, I want you to build knowledge. You ain't going across the street for nonsense. You're going across the street to improve yourself and become more than being across the street. You hear me?
I ain't gonna go up there, though. It should be the end of my...
I hope not, because you're very immature. You've been very immature a long time in life. You're like a kid that don't want to grow up. You just don't hear me out anymore.
I do be hearing. I do.
You just want to just do what you do, huh? And I believe that this is happening to mature you, because you know on the streets what it's going to be for you. Death, right? It was really bad out on the streets for you, and yet you were still out there. You've been stabbed, right? You've been beat. You know, it's been bad, rough, you know? If you want me to continue to be a part of your life, son, you have to get it together, because I'm not about this here. No more. You're an adult young man now. So think about all of that, you hear me? You know?
I take that in thought.
Wrong with that, man. Don't take that thought, say, I'm gonna do this. That's the attitude it takes in order for it to happen. I'm gonna do this. Hear me out, son.
My relationship with my mom is good. Me and my mom are like best friends. She's disappointed in me for being back here after I told her I wasn't gonna come back. I'm missing my mom so much, so I guess you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Saturday night means chapel service for any of the youth offenders who choose to attend.
How are you guys going to do that? You going to do it on your own? Did you try to do it on your own before? Did it work?
It would be difficult for most teens to imagine the stress that comes with being detained, away from friends and away from family. It's especially hard on Ariana, which we see when she has a visit from her mom.
No, you can't go to girls' school. Because it's like you're the center of the household. You can't go to girls' school. What's everybody going to do?
Going to girls' school means being sent to juvenile prison, a difficult thing to consider on its own. And yet Ariana still has the welfare of her family to consider.
And on top of that, I have to pay your fees while I'm here tomorrow. So that's $110 plus the money I lost Saturday, which was overtime.
Because Ariana's mother works evenings and nights at the local factory, the responsibility of raising her brothers often falls on Ariana.
You got to get it together, because I feel like I'm having panic attacks. You're not home. I can't talk to you. I didn't go to work Friday. I couldn't get it together. Stay home. Mess with your brothers, or try to get them to stop crying.
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes you just got to just hold up, be quiet, don't say nothing. Control your temper, your emotions.
Stupid. I wasn't even given a chance to walk away. As soon as they seen me, they had them police all in my face. That was crazy. And then they did it in front of everybody.
No, I've been giddy up. I gotta try to get to the stores before they're closed when they grow trees, and you didn't make a full list for me. So I guess I'll see you in the morning, and then we'll be going home afterwards.
I hope so. It's just I don't want to deny the charges and then have to sit in here and wait for another court date like everybody else. You got to sit in here and wait, and then you go on trial, and then it's, like I said, the police officer against you who's been here twice. I mean, who you gonna believe?
So you just say that you're guilty just to go home?
It's crazy.
No, you can't go to girls' school. Because you'll be home tomorrow, washing dishes, cleaning up.
Hopefully.
They know hopefully you're going home. Okay, I better go. See you in the morning. All right.
I just hope I get to go home. If anything worse comes, house arrest, I guess. Girls' school is, from what I've heard, like it's just the worst thing.
Over in the boys' pod, Aaron considers what awaits him tomorrow in court.
Well, tomorrow is it's like a waiver hearing. They're trying to wave me across the street. Like the tension is killing me. I just wish I knew what was going on. Like right now, I probably ain't gonna get too much sleep tonight because I'm thinking about the consequences that's for my actions. But I feel kind of anxious to know what's going on, and I feel kind of sad and I try to beat up myself because it's all everything I put upon myself. It's all my fault. Like my mom told me today, I just need to grow up and be a man. I'm just a big kid.
The closer kids get to their court date, the more mindful they become about their offenses and the seriousness of their situation. This was apparent with Aaron as well, evident from this clip from the first day we met him.
I can't stop getting behind the wheel. I was walking down the street and I seen somebody had left the keys in the ignition and I took that car too.
You got a need for speed. It's not just a video game. People really need it. Need for speed.
Yeah, I've been to 2 high-speed chases. 3, 4. Yeah.
What you mean?
It just took me longer than what it was supposed to for me to learn. I think I learned this time because I know the seriousness of my situation. I think I learned. I feel I'm gonna pray tonight, and hopefully God gives me this chance to get out, maybe on one of those little house arrest bands. Then I can work my way from there. I know I can.
With only 12 hours before court, Aaron's neighbor Kenneth offers his form of support.
I want to tell the judge the whole story and just let her know that I am going to school. I have changed a lot since the last time I have been to court.
Tell me what happened.
Me, my brother, and a friend, we was going in line to get our tickets for the football game. And the principal had stopped me, and she said, well, I don't go to the school no more, so either I had to leave or I had to go to the other side. When she came up with the police officer. I said, okay, well, I gotta get my brothers first. He said, no, I asked you to leave. The man put the handcuffs on me, and then he took me to the police car, and that's when my mom pulled up. And he had told her I was cussing at him and all this.
Were you?
No, I wasn't.
No more questions, Judge.
Ariana, are you on probation?
Yes, I am.
What are you on probation for?
For battery and driving without a license.
Well, what did that battery involve?
Me and my friends and fighting a female.
Okay, you and your friends, how many friends?
I think it was 5 of us.
There's 5 of you, fighting with another person, right?
Yes.
With one lone person?
Yes.
And you beat up this victim, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you go to the football game and you end up getting arrested and you say you didn't do anything though, right?
Right.
And you weren't saying anything?
No, I wasn't saying anything to him.
You weren't screaming profanities at him?
No, I wasn't.
Well, how was it you became arrested then?
I don't know.
I have no further questions, Judge.
All right, thank you. You may have a seat back there.
The purpose of today's hearing is to determine what should happen to Ariana. Do you have an opinion as to what the court should do?
I want my daughter home with me.
How's she doing in school?
She's doing real good this year. I took her to a different school. I didn't want her with the same people.
Do you believe that the environment at her former school was part of the reason why she was having her anger problems?
Yes.
So you recognized the problem and did something about it?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to provide supervision over her?
Yes.
When do you work?
I work swing shifts, rotating backwards.
And explain that in a little bit more detail.
I finish midnights today, and I start afternoons Wednesday. When I finish, I may or may not have a day off, and then I go to day turns, and then back to midnights, rotating backwards.
Okay. That's all that I have, Judge.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
As a final point of perspective, Judge Mary Beth Bonaventura We'll call the probation department to testify and give their recommendation of what should happen with Ariana.
I'm 18 now, I'm ready to move on with my life and change, you know what I'm saying, make a different page. Cause I'm tired of this juvenile jail stuff. I'm tired of jail, period.
Morning, Mr. Jacob. Good morning. How are you, Mr. Cradle? I believe his attorney is going to speak with him.
Aaron learns that his attorney has established a plea deal with the prosecutor's office. If he accepts it, he'll stay in the juvenile system, but he'll have to admit to his charge. And if he declines, he's most likely headed across the street.
I'm going to talk to my mom, so I need some personal counseling. But I already know my mom's going to be like, no, if you didn't do it, don't plead guilty.
Yeah, you've definitely got some soul searching to do to make a decision.
Hello? Hey, Mom. They told me that that if I plead guilty, they'll release me from here, no probation, no nothing. If I don't plead the guilty plea, that it's still a chance that they'll send me across the street. And if they send me across the street, then I'll be facing the charges over there. Yeah, because I was thinking like maybe I'll just get it over with here and then go down there and see what they're gonna do down there.
At this point, Aaron is stuck between the easiest way to resolve his issue by admitting to the charge and resolving the case in the juvenile system, or following his mother's advice based on the principle that he should not admit to something he did not do.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Yes, ma'am. I love you too.
Do you have any idea what you're going to do?
I wanted to go ahead and plead guilty and get it over with. But my mom never steered me wrong.
Unable to defy the only person who's ever been loyal to him, Aaron makes the questionable decision of declining the plea deal and facing the charge. If he really had nothing to do with the auto theft in this case, then he should have nothing to worry about.
What should I forward on to your attorney?
Not guilty.
He's the only person that can make that decision. You know, he can't let anybody else influence him, so time will tell.
Now Judge Bonaventura will turn to Ariana's probation officer to get her perspective about the case. Because the probation officer has the most frequent day-to-day contact with a youth offender, their input is critical.
Speak with Compania Charter School this morning to get an update on how this young lady was doing. I spoke to two of her teachers, a science teacher and an English teacher. They report that she's very well behaved, she's getting excellent grades. So we do want her to continue her education. We feel that that's very important. We also have a concern about some possible depression. So we would like to have a mental health screening and to follow through with any recommendations. We would like to see her released to her mother's care on in-house arrest so that she can continue attending school. I have spoken to mother this morning and explained to her what our concerns were and what the recommendation would be.
Mrs. Guzik, do you have anything about release or detention?
Judge, until I'd heard the mother speak, I was of a mind that Ariana could go home. I'm concerned. She's at the football game. Her mother leaves for a brief time, and this is when this problem arises. And then her mother testifies that she works a swing shift, and Ariana's basically not being supervised in the home. You know, she's on probation for the battery that was described. She was arguing with the police officer whether she says she was or not. There's some type of impulse control problem here that Ariana has that leaves me very concerned. I think there is an element to her that does endanger herself and does endanger others, and that needs to be addressed by this court.
Judge, the mistake she made was to wait and find her 10 and 11-year-old brother. And apparently their feet weren't moving fast enough for the police officer at that point. That's why she's in here. Judge, I would agree with the probation department's recommendation that the assistance for the depression be ordered, but I disagree with the probation department's recommendation that she be on house arrest for a fight at school and for not leaving a football game fast enough. I think that that is overkill.
Thank you. The decision the court has to make today is twofold. One is if there is probable cause that this child has committed a delinquent act, and I think that that's uncontroverted. And for that, police officer in the report says, that she was very vulgar to him and, used a lot of profanity. For her to say that she said nothing is hard to believe. Minimally, my voice is going to be elevated, saying I've got to get my sibling at least. And so I think that somewhere in the middle, if you live long enough, you kind of know that somewhere in the middle is the truth. The second decision I have to make is whether or not she should remain detained here or be released to the custody of her mother. Nothing I heard here today makes me believe that she's a danger to other people or to herself. And so the court is going to order that she be released to the custody of her mother. But I am going to place her on in-house arrest for this reason. I think that until this case is over and until her probation is over, she needs to have some restrictions. There are consequences to your actions. But I'll order that she have a mental health screening within 30 days and that you follow those recommendations to address whether or not she has depression, and if so, what help is out there for her. All right, then this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, Ariana, you're going home.
She's not somebody, I think, that's a real threat to the community, but more that has some anger issues that, hopefully we can help her. That's what we're designed to do. We have children, and they are just doing things for the first time in their life. They're going through experiences that we as adults have experienced maybe too many times, but the adult system isn't equipped, nor does the law allow them to provide for all of these services, from counseling to drug testing to vocational training to all sorts of services that would help rehabilitate somebody.
To have somebody actually fight for me to get out, it feels pretty good.
Released?
I think everybody has depression issues at some point in their lives. I know I'm not crazy, but I do think I need to be in therapy, yeah. I think I do, but I guess that could be a good thing.
Aaron's attorney must now consult with Aaron about his decision to turn down the plea deal. If he pleads not guilty, his entire case will come down to whether or not the police can present probable cause that he committed the crime.
The prosecutor's office is giving you this one-time opportunity to try to get this case resolved. Are you not clear as to believing that they have enough on you? Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, I know they don't. I didn't even do it.
Well, what the police officer is saying is that you basically fled from this vehicle and they chased you down, and that they were on a foot pursuit pursuing you. That led to your arrest.
I don't even know nothing about. I came here.
Were you driving a white Expedition at any time around that time period?
No.
No, you never took off running. You're saying none of that happened.
None of that happened.
All right. Well, then I'll let the state know then that you're going to not accept the proposal that was.
Aaron's complete denial of wrongdoing seems implausible to his attorney, and makes it a difficult case to argue.
But I'm willing to plead guilty to this, but I want to assure that I can get back here.
Well, you just told me that you weren't involved in any of this.
I know. That's what I told him. I told him I didn't do it.
Yeah, but I can't have you go ahead and make an admission.
With Aaron denying the charges against him, he leaves his attorney Nick Perko no choice but to return to the prosecution a decline of the plea deal. That leaves Aaron with little choice but to sit back and hope they can't make the case against him.
Well, it's an uphill climb, right? Just so you know. Dan?
I understand.
Okay. I'll be in touch.
With so much at stake, and with so much legal process swirling around, no one's sure whether or not Aaron fully understands the implications of his choice.
Once you have an adult charge, you have no opportunity whatsoever of that charge going away, like you do with the juvenile charge, because you can file for the court to expunge it.
You're looking at two felonies right now at 17 years. Oh, you're 18 now, aren't you? So that's not a good start. If you accepted this resolution, what would end up happening is you get your life straightened out, go to school, get a job. You would show the court that I'm on the right track now, my life's in order, and then the court would consider that in its determination.
We're gonna tough it out.
I really feel good when I can help get a youngster on the right path, but unfortunately sometimes they're their biggest obstacle.
To complicate matters further, Aaron still has a pending charge in the neighboring state of Illinois. No matter what happens with his case here in Lake County, he still has to face the music across the state line. That, coupled with his conflicted feelings about his mother's advice, has him utterly confused.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, actually. Most of the kids think they're grown at 13 and can make their own decisions without any parental input. So for him at 18 to be so concerned of mom's input it's kind of unusual.
I know what I wanted to do, but my mom never steered me wrong. Like I said, she always been on my side.
Although in general the juvenile system does work faster than the adult system, with some cases, complicated cases like Aaron's, days can turn into weeks, can turn into months. Aaron's now been in LCJC 60 days, and he's still not sure about what to do about the plea deal and whether or not he should take his mother's advice.
I'm ready to go home. I'm just ready to get it over with. I regret saying I'm innocent. I just want to get it over with.
Today is the last chance Aaron will have to stay out of the adult system by admitting his guilt.
All right, Aaron, you ready? Oh, let's do it. Kneel down, please. You know this is your waiver, right?
They told me if I plead guilty to something, they're going to drop something. I don't know.
Have you agreed to do that?
Yeah.
So you're plea bargaining it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Your mom's in agreement in that?
No.
Oh, she's not? But how's she gonna feel if you accept it then?
I don't know.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I'm 18. I got to make some decisions about myself.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Like, I'm willing to make the changes for the better for myself. I'm not a bad kid like that. I just went down the wrong path, and I'm ready to go the right way now. I'm just ready to get it. I'm gonna get it over with though. Just go here, stay here, and go there, whatever.
Okay. All righty. I hope it all works out for you.
It's better to get it over with. No more probation, no more restrictions. I can move on with my life, get a good job, and put this behind me. You know.
The closer Aaron got to court day, the more the option of admitting guilt and going through the juvenile system started to appeal to him. But that route faces one last challenge.
Your mom's out there saying, I know she doesn't want you, so that she can't admit to anything. So, because she claims you didn't do anything wrong, so it's up to you.
With only moments to decide, Aaron is still torn between what's in his heart and what his mother continues to insist he should do.
You said you wanted to move on with your life.
I did.
You can't keep doing this, dude. You gotta make a decision.
In a moment, the judge will probably just say, let's set up for a waiver, and I'm not going to accept any plea agreement. So,
yeah.
So you got to decide now.
Mr. Perkle?
Yes.
We got 2 minutes for the young man to make a decision.
Okay.
All right, come on.
Okay, so are you doing the plea agreement then?
Come on.
Okay.
Okay. If they've accepted the plea, he's a lucky man. If they haven't, he's in for a long process yet to come.
Whatever Aaron decides, his decision will dictate the way his life goes for years to come.
And it's my understanding the parties have reached an agreement to resolve this matter short of the waiver hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ashburn, is this the agreement as you understand it? Mr. Ashburn, is this the agreement as you understand it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I can't hear you, Mr. Ashburn. Can you speak up, please?
Yes.
At this point, Aaron's mother thinks he's accepted the deal, and she leaves the courtroom.
The record will note that his mother's left the room. Mr. Ashburn, you have some reluctance to enter into this agreement? there a reason why you're refusing to respond?
How would you feel if your mom walked out on you?
Sorry, sir.
How would you feel if your mother walked out on you?
Mr. Ashburn?
Aaron's inability to speak is interpreted as contempt, and the judge makes up Aaron's mind for him.
We'll reconvene on December 18th at 9 o'clock. Be prepared to go forward with the waiver. I won't accept any agreements.
The judge takes the plea deal off the table. Aaron's next hearing will be a waiver hearing, where the prosecution will make the case to hand him over to the adult system. But right now, that's not the foremost thing on Aaron's mind.
She walked out on me. She walked out on me.
Why? Was it because you took the plea? Is that what you think, dude?
It was.
She don't understand when you're in a trap. You gotta take risks and you gotta admit when you're wrong, man. And I was wrong. I did things that I shouldn't have did. And they're giving me opportunity and she don't understand. I just didn't know what to do, man. I was lost. And it made it even worse because I didn't have my mom's support like I always had my mom's support. It just made it even worse. And I just I don't know what to do, man. It's like telling me to choose something I couldn't choose. That was just the worst thing she could have ever did. She never did nothing like that before. I feel like if I ain't got my mom, I ain't got nobody.
Intake, how may I help you? One right now. He was just shot. He had a bench warrant. He failed to appear in court. He had a criminal mischief and 2 counts of violation of probation. And they just brought him to us finally.
I was just walking down the street. I guess I had a bench warrant for not appearing in court, and a cop knew me by face and just turned around and picked me up.
Okay, the nurse said you can have an extra blanket to roll up to keep your arm up, okay?
All right.
While you're in your room. Well, he just told me when I asked what had happened to his arm that he was robbing a drug dealer, and he stated that he was trying to be good to keep the drugs off the street.
Well, I have a reputation as a drug dealer, a gang member, just a bad kid. Now that I'm 18, it'll just be dropped, won't it?
No.
It won't?
No. That's what juveniles think. I mean, it's up to the judge, but you're not really behaving yourself right now.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't gotten in no trouble in a couple months.
Besides this.
I had run away from home when I was 17. Just wasn't talking to my mom, wasn't getting along real well. And so I didn't go to that court date because I wasn't at home.
Tell me exactly what happened to your arm.
Well, one of my boys told me that this drug dealer was trying to get with his lady. So I had his lady set him up, and I was gonna rob him and take his weed.
How'd you have the lady set him up?
Because he was trying to get with her. So then she called him over and said that her boy wanted some weed. And when she gave him a hug, I just started hitting him and shit. And then he pulled out the gun.
Hitting him with what, your fist?
Yeah, and then he pulled out the gun from under the seat and just shot me.
And they decided not to charge you with attempted robbery?
Mm-hmm. I like the rush of seeing how close I can get to getting caught without actually getting caught. That's kind of what I like to do.
Do you think counseling's gonna help you?
But no, actually, this getting shot thing helped me. It made me realize when I was close to dying. Well, I was living on the streets until I just got shot, and then When I got shot, I begged my mom to let me come back, and she let me do it, but it's hard out there.
Have a seat and we'll give your mom a call.
Hello?
Hi, can I please speak with Deanna?
This is her.
Okay. Devin was arrested for his bench warrant, and he'll have a detention hearing on Monday morning.
Okay.
And then, have you been having any problems with Devin at home?
Absolutely not. Nothing.
You don't suspect any drug use, gang activity?
Nothing.
Nothing at all? Okay.
My mom and I, we don't always get along. I mean, well, most of the time we don't get along, but she sticks with me a lot of the time.
Would you like to speak to him?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello?
Hey.
You're gonna be able to make it on Monday?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right. If I don't get out, the only thing they can do is give me at most 120-day commitment.
Okay.
So, I don't know, I guess I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
All right, love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
We just started recently speaking. When I got shot, she came into the hospital, and she just started crying, and then took me home, and we'd been trying to build our relationship back up.
That one hand on top of your head for me.
What's your arm? Yeah, shot.
Hey, yeah, shot.
Yep. Huh? When I got shot? Shit, I was robbing, dude. I got the weed, I started stealing off of him, and then he reaches over the seat, pulls out a gun, and had it aimed at my chest, but I moved at the last minute and it hit me in the arm.
A little flesh wound and shit.
Hell no, that shit hurt, man. My bone, like, I can't even move my lower arm or nothing. I've been locked up 3 of the past 4 years. 3 of the past 4 years, that's a lot of my childhood.
Come on, man. You got to get it together, man. You got to be tired of seeing us, man.
Teenage years right down the drain. I mean, this is the time I'm supposed to be having the most fun of my life. I've been inside these damn cells. Can't wait to get out of here and just start a new life.
My guess, it's gone. My guess.
Who's the brothers? You two are brothers? Those two are brothers. They're on probation.
They participate with the vice lords. They've damaged about 20 vehicles.
20 vehicles?
Yeah.
It was like some weeks ago, we had did some stuff over there at the bus station, but they just not coming to get us.
You guys are the world's dumbest criminal. They got you on video.
They had a picture of me. They were like, is this your son? My mom was like, no, because on the picture, it don't look like me. So they're like, we about to charge you for lying to the police, because my mom on probation too. So they said, if I don't turn myself in, they were gonna give my mama 6 years.
Hey, come on back. Step back a little bit.
I'm very mad at myself. I wish I never done the things I did.
If the judge, she's gonna let you know how funny it is. When you see the judge, she's gonna let you know how funny it is. It's not no laughing matter. You understand? Because you just caught red-handed.
You know the routine by now, I'm sure, right? Go ahead, have a seat. When I do this intake, I'm not going to ask you if you did any of this, and I don't want you to tell me, you know, your side of the story. I'm not going to do that, okay? You've been here. This is your 6th complaint. No, actually, this will be your 7th complaint. You just left here, and that is, what, 2 weeks later, and you're here.
He has like a quiet reserve about him, and for somebody that has like a history like that, like his disposition doesn't add up. I'm looking at your history here, and I see that you first got arrested when you were 11 years old.
His dad is incarcerated for dealing crack, he said.
And then a month later, you were arrested for mischief, battery, consumption, intimidation, robbery, and theft. You know, there's 10 kids, it's a large family. 5 have been here. So that tells me, you know, there's more to the story. He has seen a lot.
Were your parents contacted?
Oh, yeah.
You care to talk to them again? Would you like to talk to your parents again? Yes. Keep signing. You got 7 pages total. Yes, this is Lake County Juvenile Center. I'm calling for the parent or guardian of Kentrell Cradle.
Yes.
Okay, he was brought in by Gary Police Department for criminal mischief, theft, and criminal trespass.
Okay.
Okay, he's going to have a D hearing on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning.
What about my other son, Kenna?
He's here as well.
Okay, you know when his court also Monday?
Same, Monday at 8 o'clock.
Monday at 8?
Correct. Would you like to talk to your son, Kentrell?
Okay, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah. You heard what he said, right? Monday.
Uh-huh.
That they might let you go.
But I ain't do nothing, though.
Okay, so therefore they might let you go. Well, I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you, too.
Kentrell?
That's him.
That's him. Is it Kenneth or Kentrell?
His name Kentrell, my name Kenneth.
Okay.
I just wish you never got yourself into this. I always try to be the big brother, tell him don't do bad stuff.
Now, you need to know that there's a good chance on Monday you might not go home.
He's basically one of those incidents where we didn't practically raise the kid.
I turned 18 on June 26th, and around the end of April, I went on the run, so I didn't go to my last court date.
Shark, you got to be tired of this, man. Straight up. You can't weld, Shark. And I done seen this guy about 4 or 5 times, and he's basically one of those incidents where practically raised the kid.
This gunshot wound, man, I mean, that kind of turned me around. Made me kind of think, man, I was this close to being killed. I mean, I want to do something with my life. I'm tired of coming back into this damn place.
Okay, go ahead and sign right there. Make sure everything's correct. Now, you need to know that there's a good chance you might not go home on Monday.
Yeah.
Because you're currently on probation and you have an open complaint. That may be the case, but as far as come Monday when the judge makes the decision whether or not you can go home, there's a good chance you need to know that. So.
When you were arrested, did Gary Police Department tell you what charges you were arrested for? Okay, they arrested you for criminal mischief, theft, and criminal trespass.
Yeah, we just get bored because they ain't got no type of activities, no like clubs, no fun centers or nothing out here. So that's why people, they just trying to have fun even though it's breaking the law, but they think of it as having fun.
You know, you're a year away from 18. This is your 7th complaint. What do you want the court to do with you?
Like, give me a year house arrest.
A year of house arrest?
Go ahead and walk on the right side of the hallway.
I hope he get out. He don't know how this is. He ain't never been in this situation like this where he had to come here and do no days in here. He don't know how to react in here. He don't know what to do and consequences and stuff if you do something bad in here.
Read these rules. His brother's here as well, so I'm not sure where Lonnie want to put him at.
You don't know, like, he's still a little kid. He don't need to be in here.
Alan did the intake on your brother, and he's telling me you accidentally shot him in the stomach last year.
That's when I was 11.
That's when you were 11 that you accidentally did that? Wow.
That's when I first got into the juvenile system.
Oh. You still think about that?
Always.
You're gonna take this box up too, squat and cough. Go ahead. You're gonna squat down like a catcher and cough twice. Yeah, just like that. Squat down, cough twice. All right, no, one more. You gotta cough twice.
I gotta make sure he's separated though. I can't put him over there with his brother.
That's what I'm saying. Put him up there and then put his brother in the lower side H spot. We want to keep them separated so that when court comes, they can't get their stories to match. They can't lie. You put this lice on, you're just gonna kill any lice if you have lice. If not, it's not gonna hurt you. Go ahead. So that's why we keep him separated. So he won't see his brother until it's court day.
I've been on probation since 2003 or 2004. I've had multiple violations. I mean, I burnt all my bridges. Turn this light out. I just kept getting in trouble, bringing trouble all around me.
Trying to get through to one person is probably the hardest thing in the world to do. You can start with a child this small, and then you're around it constantly every day, and it just takes one bad seed to say, hey, no, man, come this way. And then there he goes, and you've lost him.
At first, I was living with my stepmom. I started bringing drugs and alcohol into her house. She kicked me out.
It can be frustrating, and it gets frustrating when you pick up the paper and you know you put in a lot of hard work to a kid, and he or she is about to do 20 to 25 years in prison. It becomes frustrating. I
got one of my closest friends arrested with me. His dad didn't want me there no more because we ever got him arrested.
When I first started, it was like I was trying to help these kids out, you know? I had more of the intention to help these kids out. Now, to be honest, I don't really look at it that way no more.
And then I was stealing from people that were closest to me, so no one really trusted me anymore.
No matter how many times I tell this kid, you know, that, hey, you know, there's other choices, you know, I see them next week come in, you know. Every time I've gotten in trouble, I'll be like, all right, this is the last time. I'll say whatever I can say to get out of trouble. But this time I can't say nothing. I just have to show them.
The one thing I like working with children is that once they turn 18, the record is clean. Everything starts new again. I would tell them, you know, now you got a second chance. You're on your way.
I know I can make it in life. I know I can do the right thing.
I can't stop getting behind the wheel. Like I was walking down the street and I seen somebody had left the keys in the ignition and I took that car too.
You got a need for speed. It's not just a video game. People really need it. Need for speed.
People who's in these places like this ain't just bad kids. They just make bad choices at that time.
Yeah, I've been to 2 high-speed chases. 3, 4.
And they charged me with escape. They told me it was a Class D felony.
You ain't gotta worry about that.
And they calling me escape. You ain't gotta worry about that. They just trying to see.
People can't judge the book by its cover. They don't understand why we do stuff illegal, like sell drugs and stuff. It ain't that easy to get a job, and I don't want to see my family out on the streets.
How many guys are ready to make a change in your life today? I want you to raise your hand. I want you to hold it there for a minute.
Every day I think about how I'm going to survive when I go outside. Is I'm going to be able to come back home peacefully.
But you know what? The minute you show up at someone's house and someone pops a cold brew in your face, what are you going to do? Exactly. We got one honest person in here.
I just need to be in a different environment where people, where it's less violence happening, less bad activities going on in the neighborhood. That's where I think I need to be.
I acknowledge, Lord, that you've done everything for me. By dying on the cross, by raising from the dead.
I've been through so many of these court dates. I don't know, I mean, it's right now in my head, it's a 50-50, detained or released. I mean, you think about it, a judge, you got this prosecutor, that's a lot of big people to go against when you're just by yourself.
When you sleep in here, you always think about what's gonna happen in court, like what they gonna say, what they gonna do to you, if they gonna detain you or if they gonna release you. And when your court day comes, if they say you detained, I might cry because I ain't gonna be able to see my parents, my family no more.
I can't be doing this. I'm 18 years old. I got a lot of years to live. And if I keep messing around with this, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail.
Okay, come on, guys.
Is that all right if I get extra milk?
No, man, I don't know, dog. I'm always trying to get over.
Once you get into the system, ain't no turning back. And here, you always think about your court dates, think about what's gonna happen in court, like what they gonna say, what they gonna do to you.
All right, guys. My name is Attorney Don Ruck. I've been appointed by the court to represent both of you tomorrow for the detention hearing. All right, when was the last time that you guys had a chance to see each other?
Friday at intake.
Okay. One of the challenges that we're going to have is convincing the court, and the judge in particular, that despite you having been here before and not learned your lesson, that you're going to learn your lesson this time and not get into trouble again. So help me understand some of the things that are going on in your life that help demonstrate that.
Like when school started, I was gonna get on the basketball team. I was gonna get a job. I had a lot of things going on that better than getting in trouble.
Obviously, being in here makes it more difficult to accomplish those kind of goals. So the good thing that both of you have going for you is the purpose of this entire system is to help you guys get back on track. It doesn't mean this is going to be a cakewalk, and obviously you guys have been living through this now the last couple of days and know that this is a very serious situation.
Yes, it is.
So Cantrell, let me talk to you a little bit first about what things do you do when you're not here?
I play ball.
Where do you play ball at?
At the court.
And tell me a little bit about that. What do you do? What position do you play?
I just play ball.
And what else do you do besides playing basketball?
Chill. I just wish you never got yourself into this. You still a little kid. I just pray every day, like, I hope you get out.
I know you're a very quiet person, but I mean, you got to make a decision if you want to stay in here or not. Because when it comes time to look the judge in the eye and say, you know, here's why I need to get out of here and why I need to go home. You know, here's what I'm going to do next time. You know, why I'm not going to come back and, you know, be handcuffed and brought in by the police next time.
Later on in life, I will be a role model for my little brother after I get myself together. I can't teach him now because we're in the same situation now. Can't teach him now, but later on in life, I will teach him.
We'll put both you guys on the stand, ask you guys some questions, and the prosecutor's going to have a chance to ask you guys some questions. And she's tough. And she is tough. I mean, her job is to protect society from people who commit crimes and people who commit crimes repeatedly. And that's what she sees in you two right now. Okay, let's be frank.
Like, they decide what they're going to give us. Like, if they decide to give us, let us go home with restrictions, I want it to be like 2 months of house arrest, 48 hours of community service.
All right, Ken, we're not going to be in a position to give specifics about, you know, the terms of your release. We're going to leave that up to the judge, okay? I mean, if we come in there saying you want X, Y, and Z, we're not going to get very far. We've got to come in there on your hands and knees saying, I am so sorry, this is never going to happen again. So I'm not going to get into discussions about, you know, what hours of the day you want to be released and what hours of the day you want to be on home arrest. We're going to go in there saying we are sorry and this is never going to happen again, and you will not see me back in handcuffs, getting out of a police car, coming into this detention center. If the judge thinks that you guys are an ongoing threat and that you're still a danger, get used to this place.
Bench warrant.
What you do to get that bench warrant though?
Not go to court.
That's what a bench warrant is. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. What you have to go to court for?
Probation.
What you do to get on probation then?
Man, I've been on probation for like 5 years.
Hey, better not have me on probation for 5 years.
I'm not really too worried about these court dates. I don't know. I mean, now that I'm 18, legally, they can't hold me no more than 120 days. As soon as I get this legal trouble out of the way, I know I'm gonna have a good life. I have all the essential tools and capabilities to carry me anywhere I want to go. But it's just me finding a way to use them.
Everybody knee on your knees.
And needs care fairly and is unlikely to be provided or accepted without the coercive intervention of the court.
Gentlemen.
Trying to come out. From the court must decide.
Let's do it.
How bad? I mean.
Yeah, you can move.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Violates curfew laws.
No talking in the hallway. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going up to holding. You're going to be going to your detention hearings. We get up to holding, you're going to be in the cells, you're just going to have to wait for your court.
I wish I could just go back to when I was 10 years old. With the knowledge that I have now, I could be anywhere if I wouldn't have started messing around with the drugs.
Okay, Mr. Starkey, come around here to the elevator, if you will, please.
It's not like we wake up that morning and say, I'm gonna go out and do this, I'm gonna go rob this person.
Okay, you guys just be patient till you're ready for court, all right?
We don't mean to be bad.
Hey Ken, I wanted to let you know I talked this morning with your sister. Apparently your mother was having some hypertension or some high blood pressure, some heart problems this morning, and can't be here today. I don't know if she went to the hospital or what the circumstances are, but I talked to your sister, and your sister supposedly is coming, although she was supposed to be here at 8:30 and she's not here yet. It's now about noon. So that's the update on things. Is there something you want me to tell your sister or when I talk to her again? Because she's supposed to call me back in a few minutes.
Tell her she need to bring my mama up here. Bring my mama up here.
I'll let her know, but hang tight here for a little while longer and we'll see if either your mother or your sister can get here.
Come on, man.
Come on, guys. Man, your best behavior. You don't act right in court. No way judge is going to trust you to behave in society, okay? Yeah. So sit up straight. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Along those lines there. I'm going to uncuff you guys before we go in the courtroom. Keep your hands behind your back till you get to your seat. I'm going to swear you in. And both you guys can face this wall right here, okay? Stay to your left. One on the left side here.
Your sister's here.
You can all remain standing, raise your right hand and answer out loud, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony given today is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be seated.
Mr. Ruck, do you have any witnesses that you'd like to call on behalf of the boys?
Judge, I would call Octavia to the stand, please. Ma'am, can you please help the court understand Kenneth and Cantrell, who they are as individuals? Are they good kids? Tell us about them.
It's the crowd that they hang around, and that's referring to both of them. It's a crowd that they hang around, and I tell them.
Are Ken and Cantrell's dad, is their dad in the picture?
He was until about 4 months ago. He's incarcerated.
And their mother's not here today, is that right?
Yes.
And tell us for what reason their mother's not here.
My mom has been going through high blood pressure, and she's just been diagnosed with cancer. She was sick last night, and I had to take her to the hospital. And from that point, I have to stay with the kids. So.
How many other brothers and sisters do you have?
Besides us?
Yes.
Right now there are 9. Kenneth is the one who's really been the man of the house. You know, he's really our backbone.
That's all I have.
Mrs. Guzik?
No questions, Judge.
Thank you. You may have a seat back there.
Thank you.
Judge, I would like to call Ken to the stand.
All right. Kenneth?
Yes.
Okay.
Ken, we spoke yesterday about what the court is here today to decide. That is, whether you should stay detained or whether you should be released. What is your opinion on what the court should do?
My opinion, what the court should do is I should be released because I know I ain't a bad kid. I ain't no harm to nobody. I just made a bad decision at that moment, and I know I did something wrong, but I know I can fix it. Now I know that life is serious, and life more about me being at home, being with my family, than being locked up.
Kenneth, how many times have you been on probation with this court?
Twice.
Are you on probation right now?
Yes.
Is getting involved in criminal acts a violation of probation?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Thank you. You may have a seat back there.
Okay.
As related to Cantrell Cradle, this is his 4th criminal delinquency. Presently, he has an attempted robbery that would be a B felony if he were an adult. Criminal recklessness, that would be a D felony. That attempted robbery, in that it's a B felony, tells me that either a weapon was used or a victim was seriously injured. As related to Kenneth Gant, this is his 6th criminal delinquency referral. He's obviously not following the rules of probation. I'd ask that they both remain detained as serious dangers to this community.
Mr. Ruck, what else would you like to say today?
Judge, the preference in any case like this, when children are being detained, that rather than stay locked up, that they go home. And I would suggest that the court should release them home. It may not be the home that we all think is the best environment, but it's their home.
The probation officer has weighed in and has indicated to the court that he feels that both boys should be detained as a danger to the community because of their repeated acts of delinquency. What I'm going to do today is order that they remain detained pending their next hearing. Okay. Any questions?
No, Judge.
All right. Then the hearings are adjourned. These are 2 boys, certainly the younger brother, who was following in the older brother's footsteps. The oldest boy, 6 times he's been detained here. 6 times. And the mom's not here today, and she may or may not be ill. You know, I have no idea. There's no supervision, and I think even if today Kenneth felt, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be good, and I'm certain that Cantrell would have followed whatever Kenneth wanted to do, it would have only been short-lived. And tomorrow they would be out on the street. They don't know any different. If 6 incarcerations don't change your behavior, 1 overnighter is not going to do it. And I just think that there's no supervision there. It was never a choice for me. I do think that eventually they will end up hurting somebody, if not themselves.
Keep your head up. They both stay in, Mr. Gant, detained.
We're going to Bonaventure.
Yes, we're going to Judge Maribeth.
Yes.
this and go right behind your son and remain standing for me. Could I get everyone to please raise their right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Please be seated.
Will you state your name, please?
Devin Starkey.
And how old are you, Devin?
I'm 18.
All right. We're here today because Devin was arrested on a bench warrant. It says here that Devin Starkey's whereabouts have been unknown by the Lake County Juvenile Probation Department. Further, that he has failed to attend his court-ordered counseling. And lastly, that he has failed to attend an educational program on a regular basis.
I'll call you to the stand, okay?
All right. Want to have a seat up here, please?
All right, Devin, let's start with counseling. You were ordered by the court to attend counseling, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you attend counseling?
I had left the home and was trying to live on my own, so I didn't attend from April to June.
Well, let's talk about why you left the home. Why did you leave your mother's home?
The reason I left is we started getting into arguments. I was getting into a little bit of trouble. I started smoking weed again. And I left the home because I was scared that when I did go to court, these would be brought up and I would end up getting in trouble.
What were you thinking that was going to happen to this case, Devin?
I was thinking once upon my 18th birthday, it would just be dropped. But as the case is, it isn't.
As it relates to your arm in a sling, what happened to you, Devin?
While I was on my own, I was hanging with the wrong group of people and got myself into a situation where I got shot.
So you are very lucky that you're alive, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You may have a seat back there. Thank you. Yeah. Ms. Monroe, do you wish to call his mother at this time?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Ms. Ramirez, you indicated that you wanted to take Devin home with you today.
Yes, I do.
Do you think that he learned his lesson this time?
I really do. I think that this was a life-changing thing, and as bad as to say this, it had to happen with him. This scaring him has definitely opened his eyes up to see that he almost died. I almost lost my son.
And you had asked Devin to leave your home, is that correct?
He was smoking weed, and I know he was doing marijuana. And I have a 15-year-old daughter that's sick, and I can't have that stuff in my home. And I had to give him some tough love. And my tough love was he couldn't come home. And for 2 weeks prior to him being shot, I think he had realized how hard it was living on his own. Because he came to me for 2 weeks begging, Mom, please let me come home, please. He said, I'll straighten up, Mom, please. And I wouldn't let him. I said, no, I can't do that. I can't let you in the house. And then I find out he was shot. But I had to stand my ground. He had to see what it was like in the streets and see how bad it was and how he has things at home that he, is there for him. He has a family at home that all of us stand behind him because he has an absolutely great mind. He's wonderful. I mean, he's so smart. And he can do so much if he just turns his life around.
The family support in these hearings, or in general with the kids, whether it's in the hearing or outside the hearing, is monumental. I think if there was one single thing that I could point to be able to predict the success or failure of a young person, is the family involvement and support. Devin's had a lot of services, hasn't he?
He absolutely has.
Sounds like for about 4 years now, the court's been involved not only with his life, but obviously your life as well.
Right.
And so he's turned 18 now. You're a family that's had a lot of intervention, and pretty quickly here there will be none.
We are there to back him up 100%. I do have a lot of family support. Everybody's pulling for him, but he has to pull for himself.
Mrs. Guzik?
Judge, I'm really torn. Everybody's tap dancing around the shooting of Devin. That wasn't a stray bullet that entered his arm. That was a purposeful act in response to something Devin was doing of a criminal nature. But we also have problems with, he's an adult now. If he sits here for 3 or 4 months, I don't know what that's going to do for him.
Yeah, I don't either. Because I agree with Mrs. Guzik, 120 days here, if 2 years in placement didn't help you change your ways. I'm not so certain that any more time here is going to do anything for you, but, you know, hopefully getting shot in the arm has. You know, everything happens for a reason, or at least I believe it does. So today what I'm going to do is, you've been here since when?
Saturday evening.
So for 2 days you've been here? Today I'm going to grant this petition to modify your probation, and I'm going to order that you be released to the custody of your mother today.
Thank you.
And I'm going to order that you be released from probation. All right?
Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, ma'am.
All right. This hearing's adjourned.
Thank you. I was a little surprised. Guess she gave me one last break.
If he was 14, I would be doing something totally different, I'm sure.
You got a good break.
I know.
You know, how long have I known you now? Man, you've been coming here since you were about this big when I first met you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 13 or 14?
We've done all we can do, and he needs to now begin his adult life and accept the consequences for whatever his actions become now in his adult life.
Are you going home?
Yes.
Huh?
Hope so.
You hope so?
Yes. I've been hanging in. I've been praying every day, reading the Bible every day.
What's your PO saying?
I don't know.
Did they give you a recommendation?
No.
Okay.
What I think would be fair is if she just give me and my brother one more chance. Whatever she decides, she decide. But what I think would be best for me is if she send me home, my family, but anything but boys' school placement in Lake County Jail.
These are the matters of Kentrell Purtle and Kenneth Lee Gant. Attorney Ruck is present representing both boys. Your name, please?
Mary Gant, mother.
All right. All right, call your first witness.
Judge, I would call Ken and Kentrell's mother to the stand. Are you able to take Ken and Kentrell home with you today and provide the oversight and support they would need if they were to be released today?
Yes.
Tell us, how would you be able to provide the structure to your son so that they wouldn't get into any more trouble?
For one, I'm gonna keep them in the house. Because I don't want to see them out in the streets, and I don't want them to get hurt, and I don't want them to do the wrong things. I've been trying to teach them, but they go out in the streets and they listen to their friends and get in trouble. But I want them to come home, because their brothers and sisters have missed them too.
What do you think that the court could do to help you have your sons follow the rules and the restrictions that you put on them?
The house arrest.
How do you think that'll help?
That way he won't go nowhere but to school and back home.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
That's all I have, Judge.
Ms. Gant, why do you think that the court telling Kenneth to stay in the house is going to keep him there?
Because he was on house arrest before and he stayed in the house.
What are you going to do differently? He's had 4 referrals to the juvenile court this year alone.
I'm going to take control over them.
How are you going to do that?
I'm going to be a harder parent.
So you don't have any plan in action for it to change? You just think it's going to change?
No, I know it's going to change.
Well, what is the plan in action?
I'm going to put my foot down.
So you didn't before? You just let them do what they wanted to do before?
No, I didn't pretty much let them do anything they want to do.
Okay.
I tell them to do the right thing, but they taking them on themselves to do what they want to do when they outside my house. But when they in my house, they do what I tell them to do.
Okay, so Kenneth defies you.
Sometimes.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Gant.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, what is your request today?
The probation department is recommending that they remain detained and be ordered to complete a psychological evaluation. There's also in the neighborhood, I've talked to Mom about this, a lot of gang activity on the street that they live on. And I believe that they're affiliated with the gangs out there on the streets as well. A lot of drug activity as well. I've discussed that with her. So I strongly recommend they remain detained pending the psychological evaluations.
Mrs. Guzik, anything else?
Yes, Judge. Regarding Cradle, the state would definitely concur with Mr. Smith's recommendation that he remain detained here as a serious danger to this community. The attempted robbery charge pending before the court involves allegations that he, along with a group of other boys, were pelting the intended victim with cinder block, trying to rob him. He's a very dangerous person, and he needs to remain detained. As far as Mr. Gant, state also feels he's a very dangerous person. The court's been dealing with this young man since he was 11 years old. He came into the system with a very, very serious offense, shooting, I believe, his brother. He doesn't really listen to his mother. He shows a lot of disrespect for her. And I think the most important thing that she said today was she can't really say if he would cause harm if he was out in the community. And I think that the court cannot take the chance that he may cause another person harm, and he needs to remain detained as a danger to the community also.
All right, Mr. Ruck, anything else before the court rules?
Judge, we, I guess, agree with the psychological evaluation component of the recommendation, but I would like the opportunity to at least argue that they should no longer be detained while the case pens. In fact, his mother is here today and has indicated and will indicate to the court her willingness to have her sons released to her today.
Well, today, of course, the court will order that both boys have a psychological evaluation.
Yes, I'm going to stay here until then.
I'll make the boys temporary wards of the Department of Child Services so that we can get those services paid for. I know, Kenneth, that you want to leave. I read the letter you wrote to this court about your girlfriend having a baby soon. I'm certain that you would like to be there, as you told me in your letter. You know, I'd like to give you a break here, but in light of this is your 6th referral to this court, 4 in the year of 2008, the court's going to order that you remain detained pending your next hearing and that you may be a danger to yourself or to the community. As it relates to Cradle, the court is going to also order that he remain detained pending his next hearing because this is his 4th referral to this court, and these are serious charges. And for all of those reasons, the court will find that he may be a danger to himself or to the community, and they'll both remain detained pending their next hearings on September 5th. All right, this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't like anybody to be in pain, certainly not kids. I mean, I love them. I've been doing this job for 26 years, and the work is heartbreaking. But there is no more work that's more important than the work in a juvenile court.
See those guys real quick. Both of you guys know you've got multiple serious charges pending against you. My recommendation to the prosecutor and what she agreed to do is that Cradle, all you admit to is the trespass. We're not going to get into the theft or the burglary or any of those types of things. Ken, for you, my suggestion with the prosecutor was, and they agreed with it, would that be you admit to the criminal mischief. We're not going to deal with any of the remaining charges for you then at this point. That's all you would admit to, okay? But understand, the agreement is not that if you admit to these that you go home. Our recommendation is certainly still going to be that you go home, but the psychological evaluation, the good news is says that you shouldn't stay here any longer, but that you guys need help somewhere else. So we're making a big step forward today, so let's at least try and get you guys out of here.
Mr. Ruck, have you been served with a copy of the psychological evaluations?
I have, Judge.
And Mrs. Guzik, you have those as well?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Ruck?
Judge, I guess what I would like to do is hear from the probation officer.
All right. Mr. Smith, do you want to have a seat up here?
Now, since we were in court several weeks ago, what has happened?
Several weeks ago, we ordered a psychological evaluation to be completed. Both of those evaluations were completed. With Cantrell, we did decide that at this time, in the best interest of the community and for himself, that he be placed in a residential treatment facility.
And what's the purpose of that type of placement?
Hopefully that he take advantage of the things that he needs to become a better citizen and to correct the things that he may be dealing with in the community at this time.
With respect now to Kenneth, why don't you tell us about what your recommendation is?
We also agreed that he needs residential placement to meet his needs.
You're not recommending that they go home with their mother?
Not at this time.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
All right, Mrs. Guzik?
I have no further questions.
Did you want to speak or no? You want to try? I can ask you the questions pretty simply. Lisa? Okay. Judge, I'd call their mother very briefly, just for a couple of quick questions. Now, you understand that there's a recommendation that both of your sons be placed in a residential placement for the purpose of receiving a variety of services and educational tools and things like that.
Yes.
What did you want to say with respect to those options? Do you think your kids can come home with you today, or should they?
It's for the best. I want them to come home, but if they need help, I agree with that.
Okay. You just will leave it to the court to decide?
Yes.
That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you, Mrs. Gant. You may have a seat back there. Mrs. Guzik?
Judge, there's no argument that Cantrell needs some type of therapeutic placement. The psychological evaluation shows that Cantrell has some significant mental health needs. My problem with Kenneth is that he's committed numerous acts of delinquency. Well, that's what Indiana Boys School is meant to address. And then you factor in that he's had counseling provided to him, and he hasn't been terribly amenable to the counseling. He has a track record, and the track record isn't very, very good at this point. You know, it's a serious matter for this court to decide that it's going to invest itself in a child to the extent that this county and this court is being asked to invest themselves in Kenneth. And I don't see that there's going to be a lot of bang for our buck, to be perfectly honest. I think he's a dangerous person. I think he should be committed to Indiana Boys School.
Well, I would agree that I think Indiana Boys School can address a lot of the issues that Kenneth is facing. But I know this much, if he were in the adult system, he would not be able to receive the treatment and the rehabilitation and the services that the juvenile court is designed to provide to children like Kenneth and like Cantrell. The state and the taxpayers are going to pay whether we send him to the Department of Correction or we send him to placement. And maybe we won't get the bang for the buck as you've described it, but I'm going to still put my faith in the juvenile court system, and that I think we can do a better job with kids than the adult system can do, and going to jail is going to do for him. I think, you know, Kenneth has a baby now, and I know that he wants to get out of here. He's written me 2 letters, and believe me, I would love nothing more than to send both boys home to you, Mrs. Gant. That would be really the ideal thing to do. But I think you as a mom, which is why you're crying your heart out back there, knows that that's not the right thing right now. Kenneth is on the verge. He's on the verge of either doing something really horrible in his life and take him away from you forever, or he's on the verge of maybe being able to turn that corner, and maybe if we hold his hand and help him turn that corner, he'll be able to do that. I mean, that's all we can do, and that's all I can do as a judge, is hope that he will hear somebody who can reach out to him to make his life better, and him take that advice and do the rest for himself, because we can't walk in his shoes. Only he can do that. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him a ward of the court in order that he be placed appropriately, but I will set his matter for review in 3 months in any event. And as it relates to Cantrell, I think this is a young man that probably the juvenile court system was designed for in some respects. I couldn't let him walk away from us without trying to get him to a point where he's at least literate and can function in some type of a job. So today the court is going to make him a ward of the court in order that he be placed at IDTC, which stands for the Indiana Developmental Training Center in Indianapolis. All right, then this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Why we got it, man? I hate it, man. Can't do that, man. They don't, man, they don't care about us, man. Ain't no dangerous to no state, man. No community. Man, don't fucking touch me. They don't know us. Oh, I can't do it, man. Damn. Oh my God, man. Damn.
That's what they wait for.
I can't do that. Oh my God, man. Let's go.
Pisano?
Hey, D, I'll let you. Hey! Who is that to keep you up? I was, girl. Hey, Paisano!
What's good, D?
Give me a shout out.
All right.
Ricky Paisano has been a regular in the juvenile justice system. Over the past 4 years, he has spent nearly 9 months here in Lake County Juvenile, and more recently, another 16 months at a residential placement facility in Nevada. When he didn't return to his placement in Nevada after a weekend home pass, Ricky was picked up on a bench warrant.
One of my boys, he got shot, and I had to take him to the hospital, and they ran my name at the hospital, and I still had the warrant from running from placement.
Although Ricky is now an adult, because the warrant was issued by the juvenile courts, he'll have to face the music in LCJC once more.
And when I think about it sitting there in the juvenile, I'm 18. As soon as I get out of here, I'm on my own. Like how a lot of the younger kids, they're going home to mommy and daddy. I'm not going home to mommy and daddy. I'm going back to the streets. I ain't gonna lie to nobody or tell no fairy tale. I'm going back to the streets.
Ricky wasn't even yet a teenager when he started looking for kinship and guidance on the streets.
My dad was incarcerated, I didn't know him, and my mom got incarcerated when I was like 8 or 9. Well, I was hanging out with older people, 17, 18 years old, smoking weed, robbing, just doing whatever I had to put food in my stomach. Food in my stomach, my sister, because...
With over a decade of experience shooting inside the criminal justice system, Calamari's producers know that when things get loud, oftentimes there's something more serious going on behind the noise. This time, however, it's just a few kids in the Delta Wing blowing off some steam. Repeat offenders and known troublemakers make up LCJC's Charlie Delta Wing population. Here, staff can keep a closer eye on the kids who have a tendency to lash out.
When it gets loud, it just gets loud. I mean, you can't really stop it. I mean, the DOs probably wouldn't tell them to ask them nicely, please, but in the end, it's up to them whether they want to shut up or not.
That wasn't me. It wasn't? I was just screaming deep block.
Those 4 walls, they will get to you, and they will always win. You know, there ain't no winning. You could beat on your door, beat on the walls all you want, but in the end, they're always going to win. Doesn't matter what you do. How hard you scream, how much you cry, it doesn't matter.
Ricky's a very frustrating case because for as minimal of education as he's completed, he's really a very intelligent young man.
Veteran residential supervisor Jamie Badanash has spent 22 years working with kids at Lake County Juvenile. She says juveniles like Ricky are especially perplexing.
He has a lot of talent and a lot of potential. He's a very personable young man, but yet he's gang through and through. The sad thing, Ricky, is you are no dummy by any means of the word. You are no dummy. You just can't stay in one place long enough to accomplish it. I think that Ricky is just destined to be part of the gang. I'm quite sure he's got some rank now, and I think he likes, you know, giving orders to the so-called foot soldiers and so forth and so on. How long have you been banging now? How old were you when you started?
11.
11?
I'll never be ashamed of nothing I've done. I was put in the situation, and I made the best out of the situation as a young kid. I mean, what else can I can't get a job. I was 14 years old. I can't get no job. I mean, I did what I had to do.
I think it's really unfortunate because there's still that small portion of him that would like to live on the right side of the law as opposed to the wrong side of the law.
I look at it now like wow, like I look at pictures and stuff and I'm seeing how skinny I was and just like, wow, that was me, and I was hanging out with all the bigger, older cats doing all the stuff, you know what I'm saying, that adults do. Not saying like every adult does it, but doing all the stuff that the street scene, and I was so young, little, I'm like, yeah. I'm surprised I made it through it, like just realizing, you know what I'm saying, the advantage that people had over me.
How old were you when you first came to us? 12?
14.
14? Is that when you did the armed robbery? I'm not trying to incriminate you, but how did you end up doing the armed robbery? Who came up with that?
Me, I was
you?
just walking by the liquor store, my pockets was empty, so I went and dropped my stuff off at Buddy's crib and ran in there.
At 14 years old?
Yeah. I told her she has a certain amount of seconds to open the cash register, I'm a shooter. I probably would have shot her easily, very easily. That's just the way I thought. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about no one else.
Do you think you have the ability to give the street up?
Yeah, when I get my
Don't you
job.
get tired of living that, man?
Yeah, I do. I just tell you the truth. Sometimes I'm sick of it.
Wow. Miracles do happen. Ricky, you've never been that hard-hearted. That's the thing. You're not a hard-hearted kid.
Ricky Paisano is just one of the hundreds of thousands of kids nationally who find themselves behind bars. The ones who wind up here in the Indiana juvenile justice system have a better chance than some others. Not all states look at their juvenile populations with an eye on rehabilitation.
That's what's really beautiful about the juvenile code in the state of Indiana. We have, oh my gosh, an arsenal of things that we can, and services we can provide to children and families to really, mend all of their issues. And you just keep trying.
But there's a limit to what the courts can do when a juvenile continually reappears at intake, seemingly worse off than the time before.
Michael Shane? Yeah. You look a little different. You got your hair cut. Where's your glasses?
No,
I would never recognize you. You're in trouble again? When you see somebody so young and innocent in one picture, and then it looks like they lived 20 different lives in such a short time, that's where we ask questions about the family life, health problems, drugs. Are you high? When was the last time you smoked?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
Yesterday?
No.
Today?
No.
Last week?
No.
Okay, for some reason I'm not believing you.
On an afternoon in early September, when most teenagers are settling into their new school year, 17-year-old Michael is back at LCJC for the third time on suspicion of burglary, the same charge for which he's already on probation.
I'm sober right now.
You're sober? Yeah. There's a difference between being sober and being high.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Every child has a story. We all have a story, in our life. And if you can get little pieces and bits, and it's like a big puzzle. Does your mother know you're here?
Yeah.
Where did they arrest you at?
In my house.
By the time they get arrested by the police, you know, they give us a little piece of the puzzle. I can't ask you if you did this or not. By law, I can't. I'm just going to ask you questions about your school, if you do drugs, your family life. Then we can try through our questioning to try to get a bigger piece of the puzzle. Well, I mean, what's going on with you? Just running with the wrong crowd?
No.
Not every kid that comes through here is cooperative. I could tell you look a little ticked right now. I mean, just your facial expression, though. Only really, truly, that child really knows how they're feeling. We can guess, we can try through our questioning and watching their nonverbal and their, you know, how they hold their head up, how they answer the questions, but really only they know really how they feel. You're not angry about being here?
Yeah, I'm angry, you know. No one wants to get arrested.
I mean, you know you're on probation, right? It allows us to peek inside so we can give information to the next person, because once the child leaves us, there's probably going to be, you know, 5 different people that are going to be attached to this case at least. And the judge depends on the intake department to make sure we're reporting accurately. We're responsible for that.
I'm not like a bad kid, you know, I just make dumb decisions. It's just that I just don't want to be here. You know, I want to go home. It's not a nice place to be here, you know. It's not supposed to be a nice place.
I mean, you know you're on probation, right?
Yeah,
you know your PO's name?
Miss Walter.
Edith Walters. I mean, they have you right now on formal probation for burglary for the same thing that you're being charged with today. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I know.
This doesn't look good. Do you realize that? I mean, you're looking at me kind of hard, and I get that.
You know what?
Just your eyes, you're looking at me kind of hard like you don't even want me to talk anymore.
No, it's all right.
It's all right?
Police, I think, you know, they come after me because of my past history. You know, it's easier for them to point a finger at someone who's done something like this before. You can't blame them because I did put myself in a situation, but it does kind of suck.
Michael is days away from his 18th birthday, and approaching adulthood is a tricky time to find yourself in juvenile court.
So I would just ask that the court please allow this young man one more opportunity. He understands that the next time he's in trouble, he'll be in the adult court, so.
Person turns 18, there's not, at least in the juvenile court system, a lot of choices for us to make because everyone's looking, oh, we've got this little window of time to work with them and it's not long enough to effectuate a change.
And I just don't know at 18, if he sits here for 3 or 4 months, I don't know what that's going to do for him.
Rehabilitation programs can take a year or more to complete, so that option appears to be off the table for Michael.
When you're 17 and 3/4, there's not a lot of resources out there, and there's probably not a lot of people that want to take a chance on you for that short period of time.
When you were arrested in February of '08 for burglary, and they gave you 90 days, 80 days are stayed, and you did a remaining 10 days here, and you got released, which means if you get into any more trouble, it's really up to your magistrate to decide what they're going to do with you. If they don't take advantage prior to turning 18 to the services that this court offers, they're screwed. And I know that sounds very cold, you know, but realistically, that's the way it is. They will only be a number. The adult system will not coddle you. You won't be held by your hand to make sure that you do your substance abuse program or that you do your family counseling or that you take your medication. You know, all of that, you know, is done and over.
This is my second chance, you know, for me to do right. Man, if I don't, you know, when I turn 18, that's a felony and that's gonna stay with me for the rest of my life. So I had to try to, you know, do better, not just for me, but for like my family. I don't want them to see me in a place like this anymore. Because I told myself I didn't want to come back the first time, and here I am again.
A trip to the adult system is also at stake for Ricky Paisano. Ricky's previous stint at LCJC ended with him being placed in a long-term rehabilitation program in Nevada. Since then, he ran away from placement, turned 18, and did time in adult prison. Now, he's once again back at LCJC, facing the music for running away.
How much longer did you have before you would have completed?
Like 4 months.
That's it?
Well, I was already there for like 17.
Well, but at that point, 4 months is a drop in the bucket, dude.
I was only out for a month. After a month, I caught a pistol charge in Chicago. I got sentenced to a year in Illinois Department of Corrections. I've been out on parole ever since then. And juvenile, yeah, it's a little better than adult, but when you get to adult, it's nasty. If you don't like rats and roaches, just stay away. I got an anger issue, and that's a way to challenge my anger.
And you got a control issue.
Yeah.
You want control. But that's all the game, the rankings, and you've grown. You got a little bit of rank now, don't you?
I don't know. I can't speak on that.
I just don't know if he'll ever make it, and I think it's really unfortunate because I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he could really achieve anything he chose to if he applied himself in a positive way.
Actually, the night before I came in here, I got shot at. I almost lost my life. Pulled into a gas station. I had some buddies in the car. As I was pulling out the gas station, they shot at us. One of my boys, he got shot, and I had to take him to the hospital, and they ran my name at the hospital, and I still had the warrant from running from placement.
Ricky's been locked up at LCJC for more than a month. At his court hearing tomorrow, he will learn his fate in the juvenile system. Even though he's 18, the judge can still keep him detained for not completing his juvenile placement. Or she could wave him across the street to Lake County Adult Jail.
I've already been to adult prison. I've been there, I've seen it at 17 years old. I was with people that's been locked up 15, down for murder, all that stuff. I've been there, I've seen everything. I see what it's like, and I don't want to be like that.
Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day because this is one that I really can't even tell you that I have a gut feeling for. It's going to be interesting because the judge is going to be a little limited in what she's going to be able to do with him. So frankly, I really don't know. I'm kind of anxious to see that myself. Okay, you guys can stand up.
17-year-old Michael is on his way to court where the judge will have to consider his past offenses to decide whether he should be released or stay behind bars.
They said that it's not looking good for me, and that I might have to serve like an 80-day commitment, maybe.
Weren't you just here not that long ago?
Like in March.
What are you doing back visiting? You missed us? Huh?
No, not that much.
Are you on probation?
Yeah, I'm on probation.
So what's going to happen?
I don't know.
Okay. Man, you guys got to start thinking.
It's nerve-wracking talking to the judge, because you plan stuff like right before you go, you think of everything you're going to say, then when you're actually there, it doesn't come out the way you thought it was. And it's nerve-wracking, really nerve-wracking.
In the juvenile justice system, kids who are almost 18 are walking a tightrope between the adult and juvenile correctional systems.
It's a serious matter for this court to decide that it's going to invest itself in a child, and I don't see that there's going to be a lot of bang for our buck, to be perfectly honest.
The closer a kid is to 18, the judge has fewer resources at her fingertips to help change a juvenile who continues to reoffend. For some, the next stop will be across the street, adult jail.
I try and let them know it'll get rough over there. But they see it, and they still don't know it, but when reality hits and they go through them doors, and they look up there and the men at them like new meat, that's when it finally kicks in.
I would tell them, you ain't been through the stuff that I've been through. Prison's a lot different than this. It's not, you don't got DOs and stuff around you. You're locked in a cage with about 100 other criminals, rapists, murderers.
It's like I know what I got to deal with, you know what I'm saying? I know what could happen, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing that you can't be afraid of. You can't live scared, you know what I'm saying? You just
you got to be cautious, you know what I'm saying? Not to mess up and not to let things like that happen to you.
Like Michael and Ricky, Miguel is nearing his 18th birthday. Though they are all at the end of the road in the juvenile system, the only thing common about Miguel is his juvenile record.
Criminal recklessness, assault with a deadly weapon, possession of marijuana.
He's probably been here at least, I'd say, about 6 or 7 times.
Handgun, no permit. Handgun, no permit. A bunch of violations of probation.
And every time he's come with heavy charges.
Criminal mischief. There's another criminal recklessness in there somewhere.
But once he gets here, he's a whole different individual. He's focused, he's getting visitation, he's reading good books. And then what I like about him is he shares his books. So he tries to help the other guys that's in the hallway that he sees that's going down the wrong path.
I've been going to college since I was 16. Like the second time I got locked up, I was there for about 15 months. And I got my GED there. I took the ACT test. I did well. They sent my transcripts out. You know what I'm saying? I got accepted at Purdue.
That's one thing I can say. The kid has never been in here for missing school or anything like that. And I think he makes like A's, B's. He's really focused. And he sees a future, but he'll tell me it's just where I'm from. Where I'm from, people are not used to being successful.
It says Gangster TS Nation.
2 weeks after he gets released and he's right back in that jungle, he changes.
Something I should have thought better of. Now it's like, I could do good in school, it's just I can't be free long enough to finish a semester or just complete a class.
It's the unusual or maybe never case that someone would just go out and start committing crimes and have this great school record. But it's pretty hard to be good if you already have a bent toward, getting into trouble, or all of your friends are the type that are getting into trouble. And so it just becomes a way of life. And in some neighborhoods, it's almost like doing to others before they do it to you.
I'm going to finish college and I'm going to get my degree. And probably go in further than that, try to get a master's. My mom, she got a master's, she's going for a doctorate. Yeah. So, got to do something like that. And my parents are beautiful people, you know what I'm saying? If you would meet my parents, you would never think that I would be going through stuff like how I've done in my life. But it's not on them, you know what I'm saying? My mother, she's always been there for me. And my dad, he just gets tired of this. He was like, if you get locked up again, you know what I'm saying, don't expect me to come see you, because I can't do it. He said he can't see me in a place like this. But my parents love me. They always been there for me. They never turned their back on me, nothing like that.
You can't live someone's life for them. You can only give them the tools to maybe live their life in a different way, hopefully a better way. And so it is frustrating when they don't take advantage of what we've provided to them.
It's got to be my last time. I'm tired of all this. I've been tired of it for a long time.
It can be frustrating, and it gets frustrating when you pick up the paper and you put in a lot of hard work to a kid, and he or she is about to do 20 to 25 years in prison. It becomes frustrating.
When you think about it, you know what I'm saying, you can't gangbang for your whole life, you know what I'm saying? You can't be a gangster all your life. It's not going to get you nowhere. You're going to have to grow up one day, you know what I'm saying? You're going to need to get a job, and it's going to be a lot harder, you know what I'm saying, getting a job with this. But I'm not somebody who's going to fail. Once I set my mind to do something, it's going to get done.
Ready to hit it? Yeah. Rock and roll.
I'm ready to get out. That's what I'm ready to do.
Today, 18-year-old Ricky Paisano hopes he will leave the juvenile justice system behind. After spending the previous month locked up at LCJC and the last 4 years in and out of detention, placement, and prison, he's hoping for a new beginning.
I'm 18. I got goals set for myself, goals that I was trying to achieve while I was out there, and this has just put a big pause on it. I hope the judge sees that and just lets me get out.
The stakes are high this time for Ricky to get out. He's on track to get his GED in just a few months. He needs that piece of paper to take advantage of the welding trade he learned while at his last placement facility.
If he can come out of placement and he has a trade, if any of the kids have a trade, then it makes them marketable. It means that they can survive and support themselves without having to turn to a life of crime to do that.
I can't believe how tall you got, considering how short you used to be.
Yeah.
you know, I really do believe there's a big part of Rick that would like to turn the tide, would like to continue on with the welding, would like to minimally get his GED, if not his actual high school diploma, would like to live on the right side of the law. But the flip side to that is that's a lot of work. You don't think anybody's going to be here for you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think so, no.
So, you know, it's a lot easier to go out there and sell a few drugs if you don't get caught, make big money, as opposed to go welding, you know, put on all that hot gear and put in 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, whatever's required. I think a lot of it will probably depend on the influences that he comes across. If he, you know, ends up with a girlfriend that is a positive influence, that might be the turning point too. You know, one never knows. Given he's truly going to himself, I don't know if he can do it. I've got 4 shackles already, so I need 13 pairs.
It's Monday morning at Lake County Juvenile, and court is back in session. The kids are shackled and walked from the detention center over to the adjacent court building, where they nervously sit and await their turn to see the judge. Both 17-year-old Michael and 18-year-old Ricky have been at Lake County Detention Center many times. As they await yet another hearing in front of the judge, they are placed in a holding cell area where they prepare for their time in court.
The Juvenile Detention Center is just that. It's a place where we hold kids until we essentially figure out what we want to do with them next. What kind of services would be in the best interest of that kid and the community.
Kevin Elkins has been Ricky's probation officer for years.
Has Kevin spoken to you recently?
Yeah, he spoke to me.
Did he have any idea what might occur?
He said maybe 30 days commitment, 60 days commitment. I was like, I don't want either. I'm like, I want out.
I've talked to him since he's been back here. He still has, you know, mindset on wanting to get his GED and going to welding. That was his vocation at the placement facility. So, I mean, he still has a chance to turn his life around, you know, before he gets too deep into the adult system.
I got things to do. This is putting a pause on. I gotta have my GED by June. I can't do no 60-day commitment. I gotta have my GED by June, or I'm not gonna be able to get in the Ironworkers Union.
Ricky's a bright kid. He's had not the typical family life. I know his parents weren't the best parents, but his grandmother has done everything she can do for him.
Every time I rest my head under her roof, it's like another day I got to live, or I was away from the stuff that was getting me in trouble.
He doesn't need to be in the street trying to make money to survive. If he chooses to, I'm sure she'll provide him with whatever he needs to be successful in life.
She has helped me. She's been here the whole time I was locked up, and I realized that, like, she's the one that cares about me. But I still have a mindset, like, I'm trying to do things on my own. Like, I rarely ever let people help me.
Ricardo is a kid that he's got everything in place for him. It's time for him to move on with his life.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, this is the hardest 30 days I've ever did. I don't know why, but it's been driving me nuts. I don't know.
I'm sure the court wants to lend to try and help him. You know, the ultimate goal is to make him productive in society. But I just don't know, given, you know, his age and all the opportunities that have been given to him. I really don't, the judge is really faced with a tough decision. I don't envy her.
I feel like I'm being strangled. It's just a set. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know what it is, but it's like time ain't going by like it used to.
17-year-old Michael is back in detention for the 3rd time. Before appearing in front of the judge, Michael meets with his court-appointed attorney, Don Ruck.
Hey, how are you? Have a seat. You're being charged with burglary. Serious charge, particularly given that you've got a prior charge for burglary that you're on probation for. The purpose of today's court hearing is whether you stay here while these charges against you pend, or whether you're released to your mother's custody. Now, the things that the court looks at in making its decision are going to be whether you're a threat to yourself or to the public, and whether or not you're likely to return to all future court hearings. If the court finds that you're a threat or that you're not going to return, you're going to stay locked up. So what do you think should happen?
I think I should be released on house arrest because I have a job. I'm working right now.
Many times the kids want to say, here's what I want, and as their lawyer you try and get that result, but you know that at the end of the day that that's not the right outcome, because ultimately if you return a child or place a child back into the environment that led the child into the system to begin with, you're fostering the problem, you're not addressing the root problem.
Michael is being held for his alleged involvement in a recent burglary. Because of his history and his refusal to answer police questions, he was hauled into detention on suspicion of involvement.
So you know nothing about the burglary?
I know nothing about the burglary.
Okay, you don't know who did it or anything like that?
No.
All right. Because certainly what complicates this whole picture is if this were the first time you'd ever been involved with the system, yeah, it'd be a lot easier to say, look, it's a misunderstanding. There's no way in the world that this could have happened to you. But we lose that argument given the fact that you're on probation for burglary.
Nah, because I was doing good before everything. I had a job. I was getting ready to go back to school. So I'm just hoping they take that into consideration.
We have to let the judge know that and make it so she does take it into consideration. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Hang tight for a little bit.
Go back to them.
Yep.
What time do we go into court?
I would say probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes, hopefully you'll get in.
Ricky Paisano has been in and out of the juvenile justice system his entire teen life, and now he is back in LCJC for running away from the treatment facility he was sent to the last time he was here. Ricky knows he has reached the end of the line. Having recently turned 18, juvenile rehabilitation services are no longer an option. The question is, should he be set free, sent to juvenile prison, or waived to the adult justice system?
I'm 18. I got goals set for myself, goals that I was trying to achieve while I was out there, and this has just put a big pause on it. I hope the judge sees that and just lets me get out.
Well, when a person turns 18, there's not a lot of choices for us to make to plug them into services because everyone's looking, oh, we've got this little window of time to work with them and it's not long enough to effectuate a change.
Whatever I do, I accept the consequences fully. I did it for a reason, and that's just it. I mean, don't do it if you don't want to accept the consequences.
This is the matter of Ricardo Paisano III. Do you admit or deny the allegations?
Ricardo admits those allegations.
Would you like to elicit from him what happened and why does he fail to return?
Were you given a home pass to come back from Nevada to visit your family here in Crown Point, Indiana?
Yes.
You were scheduled to return to Nevada. Why didn't you go back? What was it that made you make the poor choice to not return?
I was already there for 16 months. It's only like a 7 or 8 month program. It was my fault. It was my fault that I was there for 16 months. I was messing up when I first got there. I did complete every aspect of the program, sports, vocation, school. I completed everything. I asked when I was going to get released. I was told September 1st, and I just felt like that's September 1st. That was another 4 months away, and I was just like, I've already been here double the time of what you're supposed to be here, so that's why I ran, Your Honor.
So why is it that the program turned out to be double for you?
Because I wasn't working my program, Your Honor. I had an anger issue, and I couldn't control my anger. I couldn't control the things that I was doing. I was just snapping off. Sometimes I wasn't taking my medication, and it caused a real problem for me.
And so you made the decision then that you weren't going to go back because you wanted to get out sooner.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you accomplished some things while you were at Silver State, did you not?
Yes, you're right.
What did you accomplish there?
I was the highest in my welding class because I was there for 16 months. I was there more than any of the other kids.
So you learned something while you were in placement?
Yes, I did, yeah.
You said that while you were out, after you didn't go back in May of 2008, to quote you, you caught a charge in Illinois.
Yes, I did.
What does that mean, you caught a charge?
I committed another crime.
Okay. And what was that crime?
Unlawful use of a weapon.
And what kind of weapon?
It was a handgun.
So you were charged as an adult?
As an adult, yes.
Because in Illinois, at age 17, you're considered an adult, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you were there and you were 3 months in the Cook County Jail.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that work for you?
It wasn't nice. I woke up.
Welcome to adulthood, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you learn anything from that experience?
Yes, I did.
What did you learn?
I don't ever want to go back to prison again.
So what are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
Hopefully if I do get released today, take my GED, go do the interview with the Ironworkers Union. If I get the job in the Ironworkers Union, save up my money and do what I have to do what every other person does, works every day, start a family. And
Is that a possibility?
yes, it is.
Mr. Elkins, I've read your report. The recommendation is that he be given credit for time he served and that he be released today. Mrs. Guzik, are you in agreement with the recommendation here made by the probation officer?
Judge, it really bothers me that this young man is sitting here today. He's had numerous services offered to him by this court. He's 18. He has no education. He has an adult record in another state. He has a serious juvenile record. And unless he gets his life together very quickly, I know, after being a prosecutor for 25 years, that he's headed for a very bleak future. And it just bothers me to see somebody at 18 walking out of this court that's provided him so many opportunities to change, and he hasn't availed himself to the opportunities. But because there are no further services that the juvenile court can provide him, at this time, I am in agreement with probation's recommendation.
Mr. Laterzo?
I'm in agreement with probation's recommendation. He did not walk away from these programs without getting anything out of them. So I think he's sincere in wanting to turn himself around. And I also think that the stay in the Cook County Jail and the Illinois DOC was an eye-opening experience, because I kept telling him, Rick, if you keep going the way you're going, I'm going to see you across the street over in the criminal division. And I don't think he got it. And I think he gets it now that he's had a taste of Cook County. It's strange sitting, I got in this case 3 years ago, maybe 4, and it's strange sitting next to him right now because he's taller than I am, and when the case started out, he's taller and bigger than I am, and when the case started out, I dwarfed him. So he's grown up quite a bit. While it hasn't been the greatest success in terms of the services that were provided, I think he did get something out of it, and I think since he has good support in this community, I believe that there's a good chance that he will not reoffend, and hopefully he'll be a productive adult and not find himself, as they say, across the street. I think he's sincere in wanting to turn himself around. I also think that the stay in the Cook County Jail and the Illinois DOC.
Repeat offender Ricky Paisano may or may not continue to live a life of crime, but what is certain is that he will never appear in juvenile court again. Ricky is now 18 years old and an adult in the eyes of the law. Therefore, Judge Bonaventura is out of options when it comes to rehabilitation. She could let him go if she feels he is not a threat to himself or the community. She could send him off to juvenile prison, or she just might waive him to the adult justice system across the street.
Thank you. I think that listening to your description of him sitting next to you and him being bigger than you really strikes a chord with me, in that it's really sad. Here's a young man who has sort of grown up in our system. By some people's opinions, it might be that he has failed because he left the program before he was supposed to, but that isn't going to make me give up on children. And that's, up until a few weeks ago, is what he was a child. And just because you reach that magical age does not make you an adult. It's what you do after that with your life that makes you a grown-up and a man and an adult. There's a lot of bumps in the road of life, and hopefully you'll get over those bumps, because we're not going to be here to hold your hand anymore. You're going to have to do that by yourself. So good luck to you, Mr. Paisano. I hope that you get your life turned around, and this will be the last time we see you in this court. All right, good afternoon. This hearing's adjourned.
Turning 18 could have meant a trip to the adult prison system. Instead, Judge Bonaventura decides Ricky should begin his adult life with a fresh start.
Thank you, God. I got so nervous when they put me on the stand. I got nervous. I got so nervous. It was wild. As soon as my lawyer read off the report that my probation officer said he recommends I get released, I was like, wow. Because me and my probation officer wasn't like this. We wasn't like that.
You just won the lottery, dude.
Hell yeah. Yes.
I don't want to read about you doing something stupid, brother.
You're not going to. Promise you won't. Got a girl, got a good girl. I'll be fine.
After spending 4 years in and out of detention and the last 34 days locked up at LCJC, 18-year-old Ricky is finally free of the juvenile justice system.
A new start on life for you, kind of, so to speak?
Yeah.
Given the way things went today?
That's the first time that's the first time the court says something good about me.
I could have given him more time in our detention center, but I think that the taxpayers have spent enough money. And he's already being supervised by another system. He's on parole, so hopefully that'll give him some, supervision to the extent that he won't go out and reoffend. We can't save everybody. I know that. But you know what? I'm going to keep trying.
I'm about to be free, even though it's a cruddy day. I don't care. I'm so happy you don't even understand. Spent 4 birthdays locked up, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Next year, I'm going to be at the crib on my birthday. This feels good. I'm actually getting released from somewhere.
There we go. Just goes to show you, you can't sell people short. You never know what's going to happen. You wouldn't have expected most of what occurred this go-around, would you?
Yeah.
See, just goes to show you. One Ricardo Lozano.
Thank you. We have that. Good luck. Take care. Thank you.
Well, I certainly hope that he's learned from his mistakes. I hope that we gave him something, some tool, some resource within himself to pull from to get his life back on track. And I hope that he makes it.